It won't be long before a lot of people will be out walking and running and running and really running right in downtown. Get your gear ready and see all about it tonight on NEOtropolis. This is not business as usual. Welcome to NEOtropolis. We are not business as usual. Hi, I'm your host, Jim Evans. Many of us here at NEOtropolis think of our show not as a sprint, but as a marathon. That's definitely our approach tonight. So we really have to pace ourselves for a look at the impact of a running and growing event that is providing a significant stimulus for a city right here in Northeast Ohio. We recommend that you stretch and warm up properly. But as we like to do from the start, we first take a look at regional business news from the NEOtropolis Good Business News Aggregator.
This is the Good Business News along the I-77 corridor for the week of March 7th. Tuesday's Cleveland Plain Dealer front page reports that thanks to a package of grants, loans, and tax rebates from the state of Ohio worth a maximum of $93.5 million over 15 years, American Greetings Corporation has decided to keep its world headquarters in Northeast Ohio instead of moving it to Illinois as previously reported. The 105-year-old company is considering whether to stay at its current Brooklyn location or move to another suburb. They are currently considering at least 5 Northeast Ohio locations. Tuesday's Cleveland Plain Dealer business section reports that a Cleveland holding company, Park Ohio, that owns manufacturing businesses throughout the Midwest, earned $15.2 million in 2010. In 2009, the company experienced a $5.2 million loss. Tuesday's Akron Beacon-Journal business section reports that a group of senior managers at Cuyahoga Falls-based Smithers Oasis has purchased the company from its third owner and now former CEO, Charles Walton. Smithers Oasis makes green foam used in floral arrangements and employs 800 people worldwide, including 175 people in Kent, where it has a research and technology lab, a distribution facility, and 2 manufacturing sites. Wednesday's Cleveland Plain Dealer business section reports that thanks to the Charter One Bank Foundation, 7 small businesses will receive between $3,000 and $15,000 to pay for equipment, improve the appearance of empty stores, and offset monthly rent in Ohio City. Wednesday's Cleveland Plain Dealer business section also reports that Lyndhurst-based First Interstate Properties will buy 90 acres of the former Oakwood Country Club in Cleveland Heights. First Interstate plans to turn the golf course into a shopping center, senior housing, and green space, a proposal that is opposed by a group of nearby residents that would rather the property be preserved as a park. Wednesday's Akron Beacon-Journal business section reports that Akron startup company Inset Systems has won final approval from the U.S. Mine Safety and Health Administration to manufacture and sell a tracking system for miners trapped underground. Thursday's Cleveland Plain Dealer and Akron Beacon-Journal business sections report that Hudson-based crafts and fabrics retailer Jo-Ann Stores Incorporated reported its profit rose 8.9% in the last 3 months of fiscal year 2011, setting record fourth-quarter profits. This is the Good Business News along the I-77 corridor for this week. NEOtropolis is your source for good business news.
Okay, runners, to your mark. Get set. Go nowhere. It's still a ways to our finish line on that big event that is bringing big numbers to Akron. We recommend that you properly hydrate. We're at the quarter mark, so now we check in with our content partner, the Business Journal. It's time for the Weekly Buzz.
I'm Stacia Urtis with the Business Journal Weekly Buzz for Youngstown and the Mahoning Valley. Senate Bill 5 launches a war of words this week after the Youngstown-Warren Regional Chamber endorses the bill. The chairman of the Mahoning County Democratic Party blasted the chamber president and called for a boycott if support for SB 5, which curtails collective bargaining for public sector labor unions, isn't withdrawn.
We are asking them to withdraw their endorsement of Senate Bill 5. And if they won't, we are asking those businesses to leave the chamber. And if they won't, then we will boycott those businesses if we have to.
I do believe, personally, as a taxpayer in Ohio, that we've got to address this, and I believe that the legislators are trying to address this as we speak.
The latest census shows the Mahoning Valley lost nearly 150,000 residents over the last 10 years. That's a drop of 7.5%. The combined population of Mahoning, Trumbull, and Columbiana counties stands at just over 550,000 people. Youngstown lost 15,000 residents. Its population now at just under 67,000 people. In the March edition of the Business Journal, reporter Dan O'Brien finds international students bring the world to Youngstown State University, and he reports on how the Center for International Studies impacts the Valley.
YSU has, it's kind of, if not unique, we're in a select few company where we can provide a comprehensive education in many majors at both the graduate and undergraduate levels at a tuition level that many people can afford.
Director Jeff Davis says students from abroad enrich the culture at YSU and stimulate the Valley's economy.
The net gain to the Mahoning Valley was just over $4 million. That includes tuition that's paid, but also rent to landlords. It includes the buying services, all the living expenses. Most of that money comes from outside the U.S.
Read the full story in the March edition of the Business Journal. The front cover, a turning point for organized labor. And those are this week's headlines. Be sure to check out the Buzz Newscast every business day online at businessjournaldaily.com. I'm Stacia Urtis. We'll see you next week.
And now it's time for a NEOtropolis fact.
Did you know that the Northeast Ohio regional biomedical industry has grown by more than 30% in the past 5 years?
Well, the race is never ending when it comes to stimulating the economy in Northeast Ohio, and a race is helping to do just that. In fact, it's a marathon, the Road Runner Akron Marathon. And it's not just about a large group of people competing in a race in a mid-sized town. It runs much deeper than that. And as it continues to grow, so do the correlative benefits. So as we kick it in now, Jennifer Boers is out in front to show us how this is not your marathon business as usual.
According to a recent study conducted here at the University of Akron, an event held each year in downtown Akron is having a major economic impact on our region, and it is definitely not business as usual. In 2010, about 14,000 people participated in the Road Runner Akron Marathon. The race founder, Steve Marks, says that's quite a leap from when the race began in 2003.
There were certainly a lot of people curious about the event, and we only had about 3,500 people the first year. We certainly didn't have the kind of advertising we do now, and you have to really prove yourself. It's like any business. When you start out, you don't all of a sudden have a groundswell of sales, so it took some time to build the foundation to the point where we are today.
He and his wife Janine came up with the idea for the race several years before the event actually began, and they went to other marathons to check out the best practices to follow.
I run in several marathons, and I always wondered, why couldn't Akron have a marathon? And if you've been to these events, you know how the community comes out and people support the event, and it's just very hard to duplicate with any other type of community event. So I thought, boy, why couldn't Akron have this kind of thing? And it just evolved from that.
Last year, the Road Runner Akron Marathon organization asked the University of Akron to conduct a study of the race's regional economic impact. So Sean Rowland, assistant professor of economics at the university, headed up a group of 5 graduate students to conduct the research.
My field is urban economics, which tends to study the impact of different things on the local economy. So I was the person that was forwarded to me, and it was conducted from there.
John Salagi was a graduate assistant at the time pursuing a master's in economics, but has since graduated. He was one of those students working on the study.
It was designed to be some legwork to be done before the marathon was going to be completed. And we kind of got together, did a lot of early research in September, and then as the marathon was finished and we got some data, then we really start to get into the project.
It was a pretty in-depth project, taking about 3 months to conduct, and the results are impressive.
So I thought it was very interesting. The study found that over $4 million was added to the local economy. Of the $4 million, half of it, $2 million, came in from out-of-town guests. $500,000 came from guests who came to watch the Akron Marathon, and about $1.5 million came from local people who spent money in the local economy that would not have spent it elsewhere.
This, I think, is a call out to the community, really, to say, there's a lot more going on here than you realize. and definitely a signal to the rest of the region as well. Akron is not just some little suburb tucked underneath Cleveland. There's a lot of growth that can be built and established here, and this is something simple as a race that only goes on for a few days. And really, we bring in a lot of spending to the area, and a lot of different jobs could be generated from this.
According to Dr. Rowland, if you break down the numbers from the study, that $4 million ends up translating to about $600,000 in salary increases, which equals out to about 24 full-time jobs.
Oh, I'm not surprised. I mean, I think it's very conservative. I think our tentacles go out even farther if you really, look at every little thing that we do. So we're not surprised by that at all, and I think it's only going to grow from here.
He says their goal is to significantly increase their number of participants for future races.
I think 20,000 people is a pretty good goal. I think we'll get there. It's just a matter of when we get there. It's pretty amazing to have a 20,000 participant event in Akron, Ohio. When you look at what is, in the country, you have very large cities that have 20,000 people. So I think we're going to get there sooner than most people think.
Until then, he's going to enjoy the fruits of his labor, a race that has become an annual landmark event, bringing thousands of people into our region.
Oh, it's certainly very gratifying. I mean, if you're at the race day, if you go to the start line or the finish line, you see thousands of people with smiles on their face and just a festive atmosphere. It's just really rewarding, especially at the finish line when you see these people that have been trained with months and to get to that finish line, and they cross it and they're just so happy, and it's just if you haven't been to the finish line, it's free. There's no reason why anybody can't come down and see it, and it's just incredible atmosphere.
And this year, the Road Runner Akron Marathon takes place on Saturday, September 24th. At the University of Akron, I'm Jennifer Boris for Western Reserve PBS.
Are you not doing business as usual? Then email us at NEOtropolis.org. Tell us how you're changing your business, organization, or government agency to compete in the new economy. And who knows, you could be starring on NEOtropolis, not business as usual. So we took a look at marathon events from a microeconomic point of view. Now we talk with experts in the field for a macroeconomic perspective, or what we like to call fly-eye economics.
With over 4,000 lenses, the eyes of a common housefly are among the most complex in the insect world.
With us tonight are panelists Greg Mervis, Vice President and Chief Operating Officer for the Akron Summit Convention and Visitors Bureau, and Lee Greenfelder, Director of PR and Marketing for the Rite Aid Cleveland Marathon. Folks, thanks so much for running over here to be with us this evening. First off, let's talk about this race, the Road Runner Marathon, going into its 9th year. It's really growing, and when a community sets out to put on an event like this, are they looking, is one of their goals to gain a wider, broader recognition as this race has now developed, Lee?
Yeah, I think so, definitely. I know in both cases, the Akron and the Cleveland race developed it so that they could bring health and fitness to the community that they were a part of. So it's wonderful to have local runners have an opportunity to run, to spend money, to spend time, to show off the city, but it's also nice to have people want to travel to that area from around the country to run a great race. So I definitely think so.
Great.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's a multitude of different reasons why they want to do it. One is, as Lee said, is the health component. Two is the economic impact that those visitors spend as part of the visitor economy when they come to a community, and all the investment they make in the infrastructure. Two is you want a vibrant, healthy community. And then lastly, I think that you want a community where people see that things are going on. This is a great place to live. There's things to do. There's activities. There's a certain level of vibrancy, and that's what races like the Road Runner Akron Marathon bring to a community.
From a marketing perspective, how do you get the wheel turning to get your event like this, with the traction it needs to have?
Sure. Well, for the Rite Aid Cleveland Marathon, we are all over the place. We present at other expos, so Akron and Cleveland are both at each other's race expos and talk to each other's runners. We have Twitter accounts, we do Facebook contests, websites, advertising, brochures, direct mail. I mean, it's really a task to get a hold of all of the people that could be a possible runner in your race. So it's a big marketing job. There's people locally, there's race stores that you can talk to. So you start out, for us, grassroots, start local, and then find your best target markets to expand from there.
Yeah, I would think you want international runners, if you can, to get to that point to be competing.
Yeah, a lot of them come in and win the prize money. We have a lot of great runners that come in from Kenya, Ethiopia, a lot of Russians come in. So that's kind of the prestige side of the race and winning the big prize money. And the other side's getting all the local people and people from around the country to come in and enjoy the city. And
that's how they market, too. They find niches within the race. You know, you have the elite athletes, and Road Runner Akron tries to treat everybody like an elite athlete. You have the person that's a hardcore runner that's going to run that 26.2 miles, and they're going to know exactly where they are. Then you have the other person that's maybe never run before, and they're going to sign up with 4 of their friends as a 5-person relay, and they're going to do the relay and do one of the shorter things. They're going to set their training program. They might buy their first pair of running shoes. They might not run the whole way. They might, but they're involved, they're engaged, they're getting healthier. They're coming in, they're spending money, they're seeing the community, people out there rooting them on. So finding those niches, in addition to the ways that Lee suggested, to get out there and advertise, really helps build not only the event, but also helps build registration.
Study done on this race generated $4 million. You mentioned out-of-town visitors. They spent $2 million on this. Talk about the ancillary impact for other businesses to have an event like this.
Well, I know in terms of work both with Akron and Cleveland, what happens is your hotels, obviously, in direct spending right there, they're going to get it. The restaurants are going to have a lot of, finance coming in. Stores, shops, coffee shops in the morning, places for families to go and hang out. So it really is a strong impact when you're talking about all the different places that people can go to enjoy a city. I know the restaurants are just packed marathon weekend in the cities because everybody wants to go out to dinner. Hotels are full. A lot of people will go if there's shows or games, at the stadium or things like that going on within the city. Those tickets sell out that weekend. So it does a lot for the surrounding restaurants and hotels, all of that.
The visitor economy is really widespread in the amount of money that's spent. One thing that's nice about visitors is it's new dollars. It's not disposable income that they're going to spend at a movie theater or something else. It's new dollars that are brought into the area. And then also, they don't tax our infrastructure. We don't need to build schools. We don't need to build roads. We don't need to build sewers. We don't have police officers for these visitors that are coming in. So it's fresh, clean dollars that are coming in with a minimal residual need on a community. They're here for 3 or 4 days. They spend their money. They go back home. They had a great experience. They talk about this place, and it's a nice thing. Besides the actual revenue, the tax base, the job creations, it's nice, clean, new visitor dollars.
And it's important for the races to know their economic impact because that's a strong point for them to talk to community partners about why they should be a part of it. Why is it important for the city to help with it? Why is it important for the police to donate time? Why would you want to get restaurants to give discounts? So, from our perspective, at least in Cleveland, we know that knowing that economic impact is a really strong point to talk with community partners about this is a substantial event. It brings in a lot of dollars to the city. Let's try to find some ways to bring in a little bit more.
You mentioned jobs. How about job creation with an event like this, especially as it grows, as it has?
Yeah, there's job creation not only in the event itself. I mean, Road Runner is north of 11,000 people. I know they have short-term, I think, very manageable goals of hitting 20,000 people. Right. They have a very high capture rate. They have over 2.1, 2.2 capture rate of number of runners versus county population, which is extremely high compared to most any race in the state. So these people are coming in. They're spending their money. There's also those jobs because people are buying shorts and running gear and beverages and shoes and things at sporting goods stores locally.
Huge industry.
Right, it really, really is. And there's local goods and services that are being done from the out-of-town guests during that time. But throughout the year, the goods and services locally, the money that's being spent here in the community, in any community with the race, is very significant. And those jobs are created to service and provide those products for those guests, those runners in this case.
What's the timeline to plan an event of this size now? Is it a year-round thing?
Absolutely. We start the day after the Cleveland race ends in May, and Road Runner's here in September with the new course and trying to get the neighborhoods on board, working on sponsorships, getting it planned. It's most certainly a year-long event, and sometimes you don't have enough days in the year to get it ready. When it comes down to having that one-day event, everything has to be on time and perfect, and it's a huge undertaking to coordinate a race of these sizes.
What does it take behind the scenes for those who...
Oh, major Staffing in terms of, a lot of times races, these regional races have 5 to 8 people on staff, and they're conducting meetings throughout the year, trying to sell sponsorships, trying to make sure the course is approved, getting the city to approve it, get police on board, security, all the community partners that are on the race course, because you want them to come out and cheer, and to understand that traffic to their business might be blocked that day, help them coordinate with that. So, I mean, it is daily planning in terms of getting in front of not only the runners, but all of the other people who can be touched and impacted by a race going through a city.
You touched on this briefly earlier, but talk about the importance of the community embracing an event like this and the long-term effects.
I think that there's a multitude of reasons why that's important. One, just in general, the community awareness and knowing that the street's going to be closed, but it's only going to be closed for a couple hours. Two, driving volunteers to get volunteers out to make sure that, you know, the cross paths are open, that the water's handed out, that the goos are handed out, that the first aid stations with the professionals are managed accordingly, that there's thousands of people out there, thousands of people out on the course cheering, that there's thousands of people in the stadium for this race that are there cheering. So it's very important that the community understands the importance of a race. And then again, I went back to sort of the community pride. We all like to have something. We like to have something to brag about. Like whether you ran the race or not, you know what's going on. You might not know the exact date if you're not a runner, but you know what's going on. And it's something to say, you know, we have this in Akron. We have this going on. Our schools are, you know, doing this well. Or, you know, it's part of community pride. It's part of a sense of place in the community. And I think that Akron and the greater Northeast Ohio area have that sense of pride. I mean, they support their teams. They go out in huge numbers, and those numbers are apparent to do those types of activities. And it's a nice thing. It's a nice thing to say, this place I call home, this is what goes on here.
One of the major factors that we hear from runners when they like or don't like parts of the course is fan support. Are there spectators? Are there people cheering them on? Are there music stations? You know, and there's some real hardcore elite runners that they just want to run fast and they don't care who's on the course. But most people are running a marathon, you know, at an average pace, and they want to see the scenery. They want to run past the best parts of the city. They want someone cheering their name. So, you know, we find that it really gets people involved and gets them to show off their city. They're so proud of it. You're welcoming people on basically what we call a 26.2-mile tour of the best and brightest parts of the city. So you've got everybody from the community showing off their little part of the city. It makes for a special day for everybody.
Unfortunately, folks, we're out of time. I just pulled a hamstring, so we're going to have to wrap things up here. But thanks so much for coming in and being with us this evening. Great panel.
Thanks for having us.
Again, it seems like a positive future for the Akron Marathon. With that, it's time now for Into the Future.
Into the future.
Hi, my name is Anthony Broad Crawford. I'm Vice President and Chief Technology Officer of Within3. Within3 is changing all healthcare by bringing all healthcare providers online via our software-as-a-service platform through our 7 distinct products. These products include advisory boards, KOL, MSL, speaker bureau, association, hospital, and more. What makes Within3's products different is, first and foremost, they're easy to use by the healthcare providers. 2, they integrate into their daily workflow. And 3, they meet the needs of the industry by being regulatory and compliance safe. In addition to our products, Within3 offers professional services to help design and roll out these products, as well as mobile, API, and developer programs. Through all our advanced products and services, Within3 aims to be the underlying ubiquitous social, professional, and collaboration framework for all of healthcare. To find out more, please go to within3.com.
You know, we like to give you the rundown on the financial field, and the experts at NCA Financial Planners are here to help us do that now with a stock wrap.
This week's local company is Sherwin-Williams. Founded in 1866 by Henry Sherwin and Edward Williams, the company is headquartered in downtown Cleveland and is visible from the Cuyahoga River just past that bend in the flats. The company is a pioneer in the paint field. Back in 1880, it successfully developed a formula that allowed fine particles to stay suspended in linseed oil, far exceeding the quality of any other paint available at that time. Now known for its popular jingle, Ask Sherwin-Williams, which I won't sing, the company continues to be a leader in the residential paint market and operates almost 4,000 stores. It boasts that more than 90% of the U.S. population lives within a 50-mile radius of one of their stores. You'll also recognize the names Dutch Boy, Krylon, Minwax, and Thompson's Water Seal. These are also products sold by Sherwin-Williams. The company also manufactures paints and stains used professionally. Their commercial coatings are found in well-known brands such as Fender guitars, IKEA products, and Ethan Allen furniture. And the company has become a major player in the high-performance wood finishes in Europe. In addition, Sherwin-Williams provides the automotive, aerospace, and protective marine applications. The company finished calendar year 2010 with sales of $7.78 billion, which was almost a 10% increase over 2009. The company is currently paying an annualized dividend of $1.46 per share and giving it a yield of 1.8%. Trading on the New York Stock Exchange under the symbol SHW, the stock's midweek closing price was $81.85. Year-to-date, the stock is down 2.27%, but over the last 5 years, the stock's up a whopping 85.14%. Back to you, Jim.
It's really important to pace yourself when it comes to culture and entertainment in Northeast Ohio. And you know, we have the Iron Man on that. He's Cool Cleveland's Thomas Mulready, and he joins us now to tell you about some other events that are going on in NEOtropolis this weekend. What we're talking about is the business of fun.
Hey, it's Thomas Mulready from CoolCleveland.com. And this week we want to talk about your Chinese restaurants throughout Northeast Ohio. We have a lot of ethnic restaurants, and especially Chinese food you'll find throughout the region. I'm in front of actually Tink Hall, which is around 36th and Payne. It's a food market. You'll find all kinds of great and interesting things here. And just in this area alone, you're going to find some great restaurants. A new one that just opened up, a Thai restaurant called Map of Thailand, is right around the corner from here. Number One Pho, one of my favorite restaurants. Bulong, of course. And the Cocoa Bakery is just around the corner from here. Unbelievable items. And, of course, you know, we just had the Chinese New Year. It's the Year of the Rabbit. Takes place first couple weeks of February. And for good luck, I was at the Cocoa Bakery buying some items for the family, and they gave me some tikoi, some rice flour, which is good luck for the new year. Also in the Cleveland area, in Rocky River, King Hua, and over on Coventry. Don't forget the Mongolian barbecue, but there's restaurants throughout this entire region. In Youngstown, the Fortune Cookie and Golden Hunan, both on Belmont. Chinatown is on Glenwood. Don't forget the Asuka Japanese cuisine and Bamboo Garden, which is on Mahoning. And Akron, you can't go wrong. If you're on West Market Street, you'll find Chin's Place, China Garden, China Gourmet, Imperial Walk, and the Platinum Dragon. So check out your Chinese food. Celebrate the Chinese New Year. This is Thomas Mulready from CoolCleveland.com. Have a great week in NEOtropolis.
Keep in mind there are things that you can do to help the Northeast Ohio economy. One way is to dash out to any of the events Thomas told us about and make your investment in fun. You can also position yourself out there and make your brilliant comments about the Northeast Ohio economy to any of the people in the middle of the pack and tell them to spread the word. In the meantime, log on to our website, neotropolis.org, and tell us what you think. I'm Jim Evans. We'll see you next week on NEOtropolis, not business as usual.
Funding for NEOtropolis has been provided by the Burton D. Morgan Foundation, committed to the free enterprise system.
First Place Bank is proud to sponsor NEOtropolis. As a community bank, First Place Bank believes we are only as strong as the communities we serve. Locally owned businesses are the cornerstone of our communities. We concentrate on helping local businesses make the most of their resources through a variety of services delivered with a community banking touch.
The Dominion Foundation. JumpStart, working with entrepreneurs to accelerate the growth of their high-potential businesses to create a more prosperous economic future for Northeast Ohio. The Raymond John Ween Foundation. Youngstown Business Incubator.
Next week on NEOtropolis, more buzz, stock wrap, and into the future. Find out who is not doing business as usual. Now stay tuned for Newsnight.